Hey friend, today I want to take it easy. My foot, this right foot, has been acting up and I want to blame it on the foot, but I know that it's something that I need to do some research on and find out. So if you have any tips for me, please drop it in the comments. What's happening is it gets really tight. The muscles get really tight and it feels like they want to snap. Last year, before I ever started rebounding, I had kept doing these stretches, where like if you come up against a wall or a piece, you put your foot like this, like the runner stretch, and you lean into it. It feels really good. But I was doing that at one point. I was pushing and I just felt something go, and it was very uncomfortable. And it hurts to push on the heel, like just in regular stepping. It's why I wear, can you see the thickness of my shoes? I wear these orthotic type shoes. I upgraded from Hokas to these. These are Kurus, Kuru, because they actually have more support and cushion density, like for the heel. Because it could be plantar fasciitis. It's just, I don't want to label it. I really believe like what you focus on persists and continues. So I'm trying to work through this. I believe your body can heal itself if you listen and you take care of it. So I'm looking for new ways to support my feet and to take care of them. So one, I ordered the Kuru sandals to wear around my house because I realized the Hoka sandals I have are very old and they feel soft, like way better than just walking barefoot. I cannot walk barefoot. But I realized how long I had them. And I said, I bet this plastic mold is not really giving me any comfort. So let's upgrade my sandals that I wear throughout the day. I am always doing any kind of impact work besides when I walk the neighborhood, and I walk always in these kind of shoes and I walk slowly, but I don't do anything that's not on the rebounder. But that way I have the support, I have the cushion, I have the bounce back. And I'm also being careful about which rebounders I use, depending on how my foot is feeling for the day and even what activities I'm doing. I really wanted to, like, energy wise, I'm feeling really clean today. I'm feeling really like alert. And so I was like, oh, I want to go do some jumping. Like the one with the jump ropes where I'm coming, off like this. But I thought, I don't think today is the day to do a full workout in that way. I need to be a little bit more gentle on my foot and just kind of ease back today. And yesterday, I even took yesterday off from bouncing just because my foot was being aggravated. So I share all of that because I think that you might have some insight and some wisdom on things I can do. The other thing that I'm doing regularly is I have a therapy ball. You could probably use a lot of different balls, but I just sit there at my desk and I'm rolling my foot on it. And sometimes I just like let my toes grip around it because I read somewhere that a lot of this is coming at the top part of your foot needs to stretch to help support the bottom part of your foot. I don't know, but it is definitely time that applying my method of always being your own scientist, the scientist who studies your body and understands what your body is doing because you're taking that time to listen. So I'm definitely listening and I'm aware of where the issue is. And now I need to do things to help it. I need to do some more research and find out what I can be doing. Now, I told you that last year it was worse than it is this year, but I feel it getting more aggravated and I don't want it to get so bad like it did last year. So what I'm thinking is one of the things that I learned last year has a lot to do with so many different elements, but the two factors, walking in sand, like really good, fine, comfortable sand, not sand that has shells or rocks, but really good beach sand. That impact, because it's harder work to walk in sand than it is across any smooth surface. So there's the element of, what would you call it? Resistance, strength training in your foot. But there's a healing nature to the sand. And especially because you're walking against the earth, and I would walk in the sand in the water, the ocean water. And there's so much healing that comes from that. And if you have heard that term grounding, I'm doing like this because I'm actually saying the word grounding as in what it is, the application, the method of like, if you go set out in the earth. But that being said, at the beach, I can walk in the sand and I could walk in the ocean waves where it's a little gentler on my feet. And it was really, really helpful to me to heal my foot. It healed my foot. But here's the thing. Last year, I was moving houses, and in between, we didn't have another house lined up. So I needed to get a house that we could live in. And I didn't want to like move our stuff to one house and move out of it and blah. I said, let's just go to the beach because that's a beach community that comes with homes that are already furnished and ready to go. And because they're used to the short-term rentals, and let's just stay at the beach for a month. And it was amazing. Florida in the fall is fantastic. And so we spent the entire month in Florida. I walked on the beach and in the sand and in the ocean waves every day. It was right after all the big hurricanes had passed. And so we had an entire month of just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful weather with, I don't even think it rained at all. It was just absolutely fabulous. And so with all that walking in the sand, it healed my foot because I remember thinking, this is amazing. Like I'm walking so much better. I'm feeling so much better. And I was not lined up to stay and continue living in Florida. That was not where our destination was set. However, it has now been almost an entire year. Next month is 1 year since I went to Florida. And I've just been feeling this urge coming up in me to go to Florida, to go walk on the beach, be in the water. And yeah, so I think that's coming up for me in the near future. But I want to do things before then to be healing and treating my foot. So once again, I welcome any feedback that you have about how to heal the foot. Because let's talk about this in the sense of rebounding. This is gentler for you, especially if you're monitoring and watching how you're bouncing and you're making sure that you're on a good supportive trampoline. However, you're also watching that it's not too harsh for your body, as in it's too firm or too tight. And so that would create more shock against your foot if you have a gentle foot issue. And yeah, you're just really considerate to what you're doing. Bouncing in, keeping it gentle bouncing, is also less impact. When I come off and then come back down, the G-force element is there. And that's good in a lot of ways. And it does a lot for my body. I can feel how my body works differently, my muscles, but it also causes more activity and more, I don't know how to actually describe it, but more just shock in my foot. So my feet tire out faster. And that makes sense because you're bouncing more. But like I said, I would only ever jump on a trampoline. I'm not going to go jump on the ground because the shock of coming up and all of my weight stomping into the cement, no thank you. So if you're going to do any kind of activity like that and you have feet issues, consider that you're doing it on a rebounder because that's going to be more comfortable and more adaptable to your feet to give you what you need. You know, and we've had another conversation in other videos about people who bounce barefoot and they love it and they claim how good it is at helping build those muscles in their feet. But my muscles in my feet are so strained and so tired already because of the issues that I have. I also have extremely flat feet, like no arch. And that's something I'm born with. And it's always been an issue. I've always had more tender feet than most. I want to start exploring this and finding out. I'm also strength training, and resistance training here on the trampoline to build up all these other muscles because I think that's going to help. And obviously, my weight loss goal, releasing extra pressure that is going into my feet, is going to help. I doubt I'm the only one who is dealing with this issue. And so I just want to bring it up so that we can open up the conversation and see how can we continue to bounce when our feet or parts of our bodies are acting up, are not feeling as supportive. What can we do? And so versus doing it barefoot, I always do it in these sneakers. I've tried other sneakers that don't have as much support And bouncing in those wears my feet out more. So I definitely need to be bouncing in my most supportive sneakers. So you do you and do what works for your body. Keep listening to your body, keep being that scientist and exploring how it works. And then if you're bouncing like this, I know I'm getting a good workout. I'm doing lots of up and downs today because I'm really working that core and that element of who I am. And this is good. And I felt my heart rate going up. I've heard my breathing being more aware and more present. And so, yeah, it's not bigger bounces today. And that's okay because I'm meeting my foot where it's at and giving my body what it needs. It still needs to work out. I still need that support, but I can be gentler and kinder in my movements, which is what I've always been a huge proponent of when it comes to rebounding. And so it doesn't take fancy, complex routines, although they're cool to look at and they're cool to do if you can do that. But I'm not highly coordinated in that way, and I got to watch for my foot. So that's why I back away from certain activities, is because I got to be taking care of that foot. There's this awesome 2-day rebounding coach training coming up out in California, and it like came up in my feed, and because obviously I look at a lot of stuff rebounding, and I was like, oh, it would be so cool. But as much as I would enjoy doing something like that and being around a community of other people who are training to being rebounding instructors, I thought there is no way at this point in time that my foot could handle that much rebounding all day long. And that's the part that makes me sad because I don't want to be limited. And I imagine you're here because you don't want to either. I don't want to be limited in my mobility and what choices I get to make to how I want to live my life because a part of my body is not able to keep up. And so that is the whole reason. I've shared this before and I'll say it again. The whole reason I went all in on saying, I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to figure this out. Losing 100 pounds plus is because I don't want that weight to continue to stay with me, to age with me, prematurely age me, wear out my body, tear me down, and limit how I get to live my life and what I get to do. And I just didn't want that. I got so clear with it. I imagined what my life would be if I continued to carry that weight as I aged. And I said, no, thank you. So that's when I started rebounding. That's when I started staying with the course, staying committed, figuring out so many things about my body. And there have been more discoveries I've had since. So that's why I want to share that with you in an upcoming video, in case this is a part of what you're doing in your own journey. So yeah, so there you have it. Those are kind of my updates, but I want to find a way to heal my foot so that I'm not limited in what I can do, because I think it would have been super fun to go on that training and spend, some time out in California and deepen my progress as, what I do here on the Rebounder, just for myself and what I'm able to share with you. So that said, I need to take it in slower increments right now, and 2 whole days of bouncing just isn't going to work for me. So be kind. Be kind, Stephanie. Be kind to you too, because we got to meet ourselves where we're at and do what we can do as we are strengthening and toning our bodies, making ourselves healthier and stronger with every bounce. I believe that. I feel that. And it gets me really excited. Happy bouncing, friends.